right, everybody, welcome to the Real Sharks Podcast. This is your host, Rob, with his co-host, Steve, bringing you all that noise from 20,000 leagues below the sea, and that show that puts a little straight on it when there's a little curve on it. So, let's go ahead and get started with today's show, and we'd like to thank our sponsor, Skillshare, for sponsoring our broadcast, and make sure you listen, like, and subscribe to the show, and listen to us wherever our broadcasts. So let's go ahead and get started. We got an interesting show today. We're going to be talking about the Florida teacher that is being persecuted because she showed a Disney film in a classroom. We're going to be talking about, is Johnny Depp on a comeback? So Steve, I don't know if you heard about this lately. There was a teacher in Florida that is in trouble right now because so I'm gonna go ahead and read this article. Mm-hmm. It says kids are being questioned after a teacher in Florida showed a Disney movie to kids. Starting this week, investigators from the Florida Department of Education may be interviewing the 5th graders that were shown a PG Disney movie featuring a gay character. According to the letter sent home to parents at Winding Waters K-8, a representative from the department may interview your daughter or son in connection with an investigation of a Florida certified educator as early as Wednesday. It's part of an ongoing investigation into teacher Jenna Barbie, who was allegedly reported to the department for showing her students the 2022 film Strange World. The probe stems from the Don't Say Gay bill, one element of Governor DeSantis' ongoing war of wokeness. So, okay. We have another wokeness situation, Steve.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I'm not done. Hold on, Steve. I'm not done because that's one article, Steve. And keep this in mind. So this is one article, right?
Wow.
It's one article. Okay. So you got one side here that basically is saying they don't want their kids to be shown things that can make them gay, correct?
Right.
Am I correct? Okay. So we all know where that side is. That's the religious, obviously, the right fundamental side. I got this article from TMZ, Steve. This is at the, so this is the same time. So Disney's Strange World, hard flop at the box office. LGBTQ character to be scapegoated. Get this. Hear this, Steve. Disney's newest animated movie, which features an openly gay character, got crushed at the box office. And the LGBTQ crowd is worried this might have been the plan all along, Steve. Okay. So here's the argument. I gotta speak a lot on this. So this right here, to me, everybody, is the greatest example of why I tell everyone, your reactionary reviews and your reactionary articles. This is why your argument doesn't work. This is the prime example of that.
Right.
Here's an example of one side saying, "Don't show this movie to kids because it's gonna make them gay." You have another side of the aisle here saying this movie was made to make the LGBTQ look bad. And then you have the other, which is the studio, saying this is social progress. What is it? Which one is it?
Yeah, it's like you can't have 3 sides to the same coin. Like,
which one of the moral outrages would you like to choose? Was it meant to be progressive? Right. Or was it meant to demonize? Or was it meant to be malicious, Steve?
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so you're saying they had a malicious agenda of not only sticking it to conservatives specifically for this movie, but then also I don't even know what to say, Rob. It's like
I got a lot to say, Steve.
There's too many different.
I got a lot to say. And as we always talk about on the show, this is a movie-based show, and I'm not being political here. I'm speaking on the terms of a film.
Right. And now Strange World.
So
is based. It just has characters. Let me just say that before you start, Rob.
We have an openly gay character.
Yeah, right. And these are just characters. Doesn't have anything to do with the story.
And I'm glad you bring that up, Steve, because reading the plot of the summary of this film, I never would have guessed there was an openly gay character till, guess what? People made it that. Now we have to sit here and listen to the endless bad faith acting over outrage towards what's happening in classrooms, which brings me to make my next argument: the fact that the kids of this film are trying to notice a character. So we keep hearing about this idea of don't sexualize the children, stop sexualizing the children. But Steve, I sit there and I think about this: is this a matter because most of these people don't want to have these conversations with their kids? They don't want you to have conversations with their kids. They
Right.
don't want. So you obviously don't want to have that conversation. You don't want anyone talking to them about it. You don't want them to be shown a movie which is for kids, which can possibly show a child something maybe a little internal about themselves. So I ask people this: how much longer are you going to coddle your kids? How much longer are you going to sit there and hide the veil of this of your kid, the world to your kids? Because when they get older, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to be really, really surprised. The fact
Because
that you
it's
were so outraged
by a
over a
kids
Disney film.
film. By a kids film that, once again, Rob, I must reiterate, has zero impact on the story
Of itself,
at
right?
all.
Right?
It
At
is
all?
about like, I think, a family that goes into an alien world. If they would have had made Captain America save the world, do the same thing he did. Not even Captain America. Let's just say Iron Man, since he was the one, spoiler alert, who haven't seen this Endgame, where he snaps his fingers, destroys Thanos, and saves the world, right? If he was laying there dead and he somehow like kissed a man, would that have impacted your whole like thing about like, oh, I can't support it?
I don't know. That might have impacted
Yeah.
mine. I mean, I don't know, Steve. That would have been pretty ballsy. I probably would have given the Academy Award to Marvel if right at the end, instead of killing Thanos, he just smacked a little
Just
kiss on him.
smack, just yeah, just
But I
Captain America
digress
kiss
on
him
that
like
one because
that.
that would be I would have actually paid to
But
see
like,
that.
it has no. What I'm saying is, it
Zero
has
impact.
no impact. Here's another one that we review on this very podcast, Rob. The last Star Wars film. Okay, the Star Wars. What was it? This Rise of Skywalker. There was a like a 2-second clip where there was a lesbian couple that had like a kiss in the the Republic, the New
Something like
Republic
that.
at
Yeah.
the end. It was like a 2-second clip. Remember when people were like, "Oh my God, this is now an immediate woke film"? It's like, what about the entire film that was all about Star Wars and one thing that has to deal with a relationship that, to be quite honest with you, is very minute when you talk about the entire scale of things, is somehow going to tip the scales and the balance of like warping people's minds. I and then on the other end of that, Rob, did Disney, because that's a Disney film as well, did they subsequently know they were going to make people upset? Ooh, it's you know what I mean? It's a corporation, right? We're talking about
Right.
Disney. It's the biggest one of the biggest corporations in existence right now. Well, they would have an agenda to sneak in a kiss or make an openly gay character in a children's cartoon.
It's funny you say that, Steve, because I haven't seen this film yet, but I guarantee
I have.
you I'm glad you have, but I guarantee you when I see it, I'm going to be confident I'm going to see no conspiracy. I'm almost certain underneath it all, Steve, it was a overall bad film.
Yeah, it was.
And when I do see it, I will give a review about it, if it was a great film or not. And the sexuality of the character, I think it's insane that was way too much for some of you to look away from,
Right.
to basically overshadow what was possibly just a bad movie.
Yeah.
It says a lot about a lot of people, and I will end my statement with this: you are projecting more than a movie projector.
I'm going to end on this as well by piggybacking on that comment, Rob. Not only are you projecting, aren't you the one warping your agenda? Rather than, like, if you're upset about the film, that's one thing. Why not just go, I don't like this film, rather than going out of your way to fire teachers, to basically boycott this film so other people can't watch it?
Right.
If you don't want to watch it, that's fine, right?
Just don't go see it.
Just don't go see it. Like, Rob, if you hate a film, and I know you hate quite a couple of films in your day, I don't see you going out of your way to be like, I need to make sure that this film does not exist because it personally offends me, and I need to make sure that all the copies are destroyed. Nobody, I'm saving humanity by doing this. Strange World, Disney's Pixar's Strange World, is somehow a detriment to young youths because they're not going to pay attention to this alien world that the characters are exploring. No, they're going to focus on the character being gay, lesbian, woke, which is just ridiculous.
And I think there is a lot of ridiculousness that is leading into this society. And this show's going to be kind of a little bit. We might get a little bit of heat for this one, Steve, because I got a lot to say about a few things. So I want to talk about this ever-growing topic I keep hearing about: critics versus movie fans. And it really took me a long time to kind of sit here and digest this one. And here's what I got to say about it, Steve. We're at the 10th Fast and the Furious.
Right.
We got Gladiator 2 on its way.
Mhm.
We have another Transformers reboot to the franchise coming up. Yet I keep hearing, Steve, from a lot of people,
Another Indiana Jones.
Hollywood doesn't have ideas anymore.
Yeah.
And I can't disagree with that. But, at times, as a movie critic, I sit there and I ask moviegoers, seriously? You seriously ask that question of why Hollywood has no ideas?
The creative issue.
Steve, I actually took a look at how much money the Fast and Furious franchise has made.
Mm-hmm.
It is $6 billion with a B, Steve. Yep. $6 billion, my audience. I do not ever want to hear an argument about how Hollywood has run out of ideas. You know why? Because you keep getting mad at the clowns, but you keep going to their circus.
You're watching them.
Stop watching these films that is giving the studio the green light to say, you know what? They don't want originality. They don't want nothing new. They want to watch the Point Break film remake 10 times.
Over.
10
and subsequently,
times.
The same
Over
film,
over.
It's either that or a comic book, spin that
Marvel,
we're just never going to get out of this world.
Never ending.
Or that is like a twin whirlwind, Rob. Video game movies on the rise, the Mario movies, the Sonic movies, and now Nintendo just basically said they're opening up the floodgates to be like, we're going to make movies off of all of our properties. So you're probably going to get a Donkey Kong movie. You're probably going to get what else is there? A Legend of Zelda movie. So and guess what? Just like Rob is saying, you people are going to go see it, whether it is bad, whether it is good, and you're going to say, there's just no original ideas. Really? Why do you go see Spider-Man for the 18th time, whether it's animated or otherwise? Stop going to go see that. How many Transformers films are we going to see to be like, oh no, this one's going to be better because it doesn't have stuff in it? It's like, really? Because he's the problem?
I never want to hear that argument anymore, and I hear it too much, this idea. Like, and I mostly hear it from one side. I mostly hear, yeah, all these Hollywood libs don't know how to write a good movie anymore. They don't know how to do anything anymore. It's like, really? Because you keep seeing the same films repeatedly.
Over and over and over again. That is the same rehashed idea with the same actors now 30 plus years older. That's the thing. It's like these actors are 30 plus years older. When I was saying is Indiana Jones 5. That's one of the bigger popcorn films, Rob, that's coming out in the summer. Now, that's the 5th Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford has said that's his last film. Do you believe it?
Is it?
Yeah, he said that.
Speaking of which, Steve, I kind of realized something today, and it was interesting because I was watching a commercial for the new Indiana Jones, and it was the part where they're in the plane, and the girl's like, Harrison's like, oh, and then he jumps out of the plane with her, and I started thinking to myself, man, it is awesome that CGI and special effects has made it to where practical effects of having Harrison Ford really jump out of a plane is like gone.
It's gone.
I guarantee you his ass wouldn't be able to survive half this shit now, so that gives him the ability to have a longevity role of Indiana Jones, is the fact that it's a lot easier on someone like his body. Right, it really is.
Dude, in that film, they basically like de-aged Harrison Ford to make it seem like it was Raiders of the Lost Ark again.
That's what I'm saying.
So what is it on the actors? Is it their fault, Rob? I'm going to pose this question to you in the audience. Is it the actors' fault that they're portraying these characters because they're just the actors? They're not the ones writing. Whose fault is it? You know what I mean? Writer strike, right? I mean, so like, And
That's why
all
they're
the
striking, because
writers,
they're tired of people seeing the same goddamn movies and not picking up any
all
originality.
and
And
not getting
that's
paid.
and as we said this before, the reason that original films don't get picked up anymore is because studios are so hesitant to pick up a movie that they say on the whim it might do good. See a movie, but you're saying they're going, but hey, Rob, Boondock Saints got made into a sequel. Some of these other famous cult classics got made into a sequel. Yes, because they already had that cult following there. The
Right.
studio was like, oh yeah, people are definitely going to see this. They love this movie. But if you just come up to the studio and say, hey, I'm gonna make this film, I think it could be a cult classic, they're gonna
Right.
say, right.
Yeah, but like to that argument, Rob, I we saw Boondock Saints too. There was a teaser
It was kind of
for
bad. 3.
three. Where's three?
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like these cult classic films are good and they make sequels years later, i.e. Gladiator. Yes, I went there. I'm gonna call that a cult classic. I'm sorry. It's just how I feel about that
I
film.
can't believe there's gonna be another one. I don't
That
know.
why do you need Gladiator 20 plus years
Because people
after the
want
game?
to see it again, Steve.
What people? Who are these people that need to see it? Like
Ridley
Avatar 2.
Scott's homies.
Ridley Scott himself. I need this for my legacy. Dude, I don't know what to say about people that complain about either animated films for children, video game movies, comic book movies, um, action thrillers like The Fast and the Furious or Mission Impossible, which is
Right.
also going to get another sequel with Tom Cruise in
That's
it.
your favorite movie. Shut up.
Yeah, I love one. That was the only one I liked was one, but it's just like why complain, Rob? It's like you're not complaining? Why? Because when's the last time you seen a Guardians of the Galaxy film or Transformers film or Fast and the Furious, for Christ's sake? When's the last Fast and the Furious you saw that you can actually go
I
like,
don't watch those movies, Steve.
it's just like bro, or Teenage
I'm just kidding,
Turtles.
guys. I have seen like 1 and then 3 and then I'm sure 6 and 4 somewhere through there. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? But you're not like, oh, dude, I can't wait for Fast and Furious 10. Oh, dude, I
But
gotta see it. Man.
people love it. People love it. That's why you
Yeah.
keep going to go see it. So don't make arguments towards us about, Hollywood never has any ideas. We know why.
I mean, they do have ideas, and these films are being made. Do they have budgets? Probably not. No, they're out there. They're out there for the taking. But are you going to go venture to see them? Just like Rob is saying, which is venturing from a movie critic versus a movie fan. If you're a fan of a
So
movie,
I'm saying, and
you'll
my
go
whole
see
thing
those
is
movies.
that fans enable these bad movies.
Right? Yeah.
And
It's
then you
like
want to
Rob
be
is
like, why do
nothing out.
critics hate these films? Because they've been done a bazillion times.
Zillion gazillion times, which is why you have Martin Scorsese coming out going, yeah,
I
these
hate
movies
Marvel.
are, yeah, I hate them. And Quentin Tarantino, all these legendary directors from years past are coming out going like, yeah, these movies suck. You know what I
Suck.
mean? And people jump down their throats, but then they're the same people going like, I'm tired of seeing Ant-Man 6.
Right.
What?
Why can't Hollywood ever do something for me?
Yeah. Right.
So we're going to go ahead and take our first break. We'll be right back, our audience.
Hey, looking for the latest movie and fashion swag? Check out Jagged Tooth Clothing. You can find us on eBay, Twitter, and Instagram.
So, I don't know if you guys heard about this. Guess what here, Steve? So apparently, Jeanette de Berry recently premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, where the audience erupted in applause for Johnny Depp's performance as King Louis. I guess I would say that would be the 16th, the 15th, according to Variety. Depp held back his tears as he received a 7-minute standing ovation. After Jeanne de Berry's premiere, the actor, who was surprised by the response, acknowledged the audience by waving from the balcony, while Miwan broke down into tears and addressed the audience. I want to share this moment with my lover, with my producer, with Le Pate. It was a production that was difficult to finance, and I want to share this moment with all my team across the theater. Is this Johnny Depp's comeback tour, guys?
Yes.
Well, I mean, come back. He kind of really wasn't gone though, right?
Are you kidding
No.
me, Steve?
I mean, after the thing. Okay, let's just say, for the record, he got fired pre-trial from the Harry Potter films, right?
And Disney. No,
Yeah.
you mean Pirates of the
And
Caribbean.
Disney, yeah, I think, but they came back and they said something like they put him on hold. So yeah, he wasn't doing any films because of the trial. So I guess you can call it one, but I mean, for an actor, you're just doing another film.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think this is not his comeback tour, Steve? You think he's never really
No,
gone
I just
away?
don't. I just think he wasn't really gone. I think they were just kind of like putting him on halt. Because if he's gone, I would think of him not doing films for like a year.
So you think they were pulling a Kobe, huh? Play for your freedom?
I think they were sidelining him just in case it didn't just go their way. Like, hey, we're gonna put you on the back burner, but if it comes out on your end, you're back into the game.
I wonder
But if not,
these people are the same people that were like booing him, canceling him. Are these the same people that were like cheering him now, or the same people going like, I don't ever want to see a Johnny Depp movie ever again?
like the younger generation, because they are cancel happy, do what they have to do to make their society better. They can't
Think so?
show, yes, because they can't show Pippi Le Poo now. There was what movie?
Well,
movie
because
was
Pepe
I
Le
was
Pew was a sexual harassing character.
Like
but
openly.
back in our day, we
Right,
didn't
but
look at it
things
like
change.
Yeah, things
Exactly,
changed.
and
It
that's
was
what I'm
bad
saying.
then.
They
It was
didn't want
weird.
Disney did not want to have a man that could possibly can be convicted of sexual assault, rape.
Also, that was
anything
Warner
else like
Brothers.
that. You know what I'm saying? No one in Hollywood wants a possible sex offender, whatever,
Cartoon.
or violence in the freaking industry.
Right,
And
it's
it
bad
was
for
a
business.
cartoon. You have to really look into it, like step back and look as a victim side effect. A jury finally found him not guilty.
Not guilty,
If they wouldn't have
right.
found him not guilty, they would have been like, oh, I know the whole time. I know the whole time. I knew the whole time. But if he was found not guilty, they're like, oh, hey, man, I'm sorry the whole time. I was with you.
Yeah, but
Like,
damage
they're
is done,
backtracking.
and I think
Yeah.
that more
But the
goes.
damage is already done.
Damage is done, but I think that goes more to a media sense more than a generational aspect.
Yeah,
Because
And
the
it
true.
is.
media,
They
of
were the one
course,
who.
dubs everybody, guilty. It's innocent proved guilty. Unfortunately, with media, it's guilty and it's till you're proven innocent.
Proven innocent. And in
And
his
it-
case,
and it's what I
a
was
days-long case on national television to prove that he was innocent.
So damage is done. So my main
The
question
damage is already
this
done, whether they was
comeback?
found guilty or not guilty. Those people will already say, you know what? As a female, I'm going to side with her.
Okay.
He was
Rob,
guilty.
let me ask this question. Rob, do you
I
think that that movie itself even deserved the standing ovation or whatever his performance?
I don't know. It's interesting because it's and I haven't seen the film myself, and
It's like standing up for Edward Scissorhands. You're just like, oh, I loved Edward Scissorhands standing ovation.
It's interesting because this is about a monarch. King Louis. Of course, France. We all know what happened to France's monarchs. So this is an interesting film to me. Kind of like it's almost like a period piece. I mean, I assume it is a period piece. I haven't seen it. I just know that so far what everyone is saying about it is it's this good. But I don't know if that's because it's Johnny Depp in it or if the film is honestly that good on its own.
Right.
Yeah, see,
Because
I haven't seen it either.
I don't like Victorian films. We've had this discussion. I find Victorian films,
Same.
unless it's The Duchess, I find them very boring.
I love Victorian films, and I will watch it once I
very
find where it's
hammed up.
streaming
Just
at.
go in it with the sense that this is not going to be true. Everything's going to be too clean. People are going to be too whatever.
Well, that's how most Victorian films are. Nothing's like 100% on dot. Like they.
There are movies that
Over-dramatic.
are historically
they
more
do.
accurate than others, but there are some that take historical liberties. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves of movies.
And same here. And I'm the type of person that will point out something that is wrong during those historical pieces. I'll be like, you know what? No, they didn't have that American flag. They only had 13 at the time, type of thing.
I wonder, was Mickey Mouse one of those people in the crowd that was cheering for Johnny Depp? I wonder. Mickey Mouse is like, I love you, Johnny.
Sorry, we're sorry, Johnny.
Come back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Johnny Depp. I am sorry.
Let me ask you guys this. Okay, so even though Johnny has been getting some love, I have been kind of surprised, Steve, and I don't know really how to go about this one because I did catch a little bit of this movie. So apparently Ben Affleck is taking some heat for his new movie, Hypnotic. I don't know if you've seen this film. Now, I'm kind of at a crossroads here. So what the movie is about essentially is about a guy who's a criminal mastermind, almost like the Clock King in Batman, and he's hypnotizing people before he does the crimes. So Ben Affleck is chasing this dude, and basically this guy will walk up to somebody and be like, you know, it's a long day, isn't it? And then they get hypnotized and start committing the crime for him.
Interesting.
And so far, this movie has bombed, and people are just tearing it to pieces. So
which movie is this? Sorry, I had you guys on mute.
This is Hypnotic. This is Ben Affleck's new movie, Hypnotic. So it really kind of made me wonder, do people just hate Ben Affleck, or is it just literally because the movie is bad? So I kind of started watching it, and it is kind of like an Inception type, Memento type of film. Ben Affleck's not bad in it. I just think this idea of a villain like this kind of stretches a little far.
I don't think I can see him being a bad guy, though.
No, it's not Ben Affleck who's the villain. Ben Affleck's not the villain. He is a detective, and he's chasing the villain, who's basically hypnotizing people to do this crime. But as he's like chasing him, this guy is like literally like when I say the Clock King, Steve, it's because he's like falling off of buildings and stuff, and he's just like, and he's getting caught by people that are like doing stuff for him because he hypnotized him ahead of time, and he's saying certain phrases and stuff. So
I see what
you're right.
Okay, so with that being said,
and he's getting flack.
And I hate to say this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you for a second, but would that be the same thing as Candyman?
No.
Does he hypnotize his victims into doing stuff?
This is more like Memento and Inception.
Yeah.
Or was the serial killer from the 70s that never killed anyone, but his followers did?
Oh, you're talking about Charles Manson? Charles Manson did kill people.
Thank you. He didn't touch anyone.
No, he did, because there's actually, and I hate to get off subject, there's actually been a lot of evidence that there's bodies buried out in Death Valley, but the reason they won't let people dig down in Death Valley is because it's illegal to dig in that national park. And they buried the bodies down 8 feet, and you're only allowed to dig like 5 feet in the fucking ground.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, for the murders he was convicted of, he never.
Yeah, no, he didn't do it, like, technically, but that doesn't mean he's not less guilty.
Oh no, he's fucking guilty.
But
no,
anyway,
he is guilty.
So this is kind of the same situation as a guy that's hypnotizing people to do the crimes.
Right.
So I don't know, Steve. I don't know whether, and I'm crossed here because again, I watched a little bit of this movie, and I don't know whether it's a bad film because I didn't finish it. I didn't even
What about Affleck's performance?
It was okay. It was Ben Affleck, but I think Ben Affleck's a lot better than he used to be. And I don't know. So I don't know if it's Ben Affleck, if people just hate Ben Affleck, or if it's just the idea is a stretch. You know what I mean? But then I think
it sounds like a stretch from just. But
so
sounds like one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like this is another one of these things. Yeah, I don't. I think this is just too many grasping at straws that we've seen from major films.
I think
you know what I mean.
So obviously, this movie was released before the writers' strike. Do you think the writers knew? Like, hey, we're going to strike then. Like, hey, let's make a shitty fucking movie.
I doubt.
Like,
I don't think it's a 3-dimensional chess thing like that. I think it's.
I mean, it's Hollywood.
I just think it's a huge misconception of a film. I think it's an idea that looks better on paper than it does actually on screen.
Behind the film screen.
It definitely feels that way, Rob.
Because when I read it, Steve, I was like, this is cool. I was like, this idea of like a guy committing crimes, like hypnotizing people to do shit. But then when I
read it, though.
when you see the bombs going off and Ben Affleck like chasing them through things, and he's just like snapping his finger at someone, and then they're like moving like robots at someone else, and I was like.
It's almost like True Blood, where like the guys could just look in your eyes and hypnotize you.
Kind of, yeah. And then all of a sudden, this guy is like doing this. So he doesn't even have to commit the crimes. Like he hypnotizes the bank teller to go in there and like to pull the money out of the safe deposit box. And Ben Affleck's like, stop, freeze, stop. And
I know my new superpower.
That's what she's doing. But see,
I
just don't think. I just don't think and like again, Steve, I'm very confused on whether is this just because people hate Ben Affleck, and you can't say that's not true.
Yeah,
Because
love
some
Ben
people
Affleck.
just hate Ben Affleck.
Yeah, people definitely do not like Ben Affleck. That's
I
100%
love it.
true. I think that it's part of that, but I also just feel like this is a very dry premise, Rob. Just from the sound of it, it does not seem like it's
Almost
something
like
that's
so
being-
complex and stupid. You know what I mean?
Right,
I mean,
that's
Do you-
exactly what I'm thinking. I'm
like
feeling like
Inception is right on that border of so complex and stupid. You know what I mean?
But
Like, I
it
haven't
plays it
seen the
very
the
well.
movie.
What?
But do you
Inception?
think they spent too much time trying to do the dialogue and the graphics that they didn't, or do you
No,
think that they spent too much time doing the graphics and everything
No.
else? They didn't put time in the dialogue to make it make sense.
No, that's not what I think the problem of this movie is. Because I think the performance, the dialogue is okay. Because you know the cast of this film isn't that bad either. Steve, do you happen to have the cast of it up by any chance?
Yeah, I'll see.
I was
Because
gonna
look,
say, it's not-
look who's the main bad guy. You're gonna be surprised on who the main bad guy is.
Yeah, I see the cast as well.
you said Hypnotic, right?
Yeah.
I just, you're there's some people in here, okay, like William Fletcher, pretty good actor, but then there's some other people I'm not really seeing, or they've just been in TV
Yeah,
shows.
but
And
William
Jackie,
Fletcher,
They're
William
like
Fletcher is the
E-rated
bad
movies.
guy.
right? Yeah,
And William Fletcher's a good bad guy.
he's a good bad guy,
William
but
Fletcher is an amazing bad guy.
this feels like a film that was made on a budget. They had a big idea, not a bad.
5.6 so far.
Yeah,
Listen,
man.
like-
I just
like
don't
he
think
was
it's a
saying.
made-for-TV film with a major star in it. Type of
Two
deal.
major stars. There's Ben Affleck and William. There's the only two stars I recognize. Everyone else in this movie, I do not recognize.
William Fincher is. I think William Fincher is a good actor, but I don't think he's an A-lister.
No, he's
Ben
he's
Affleck is an
definitely,
A-lister, so
yeah.
he's the draw.
He's definitely
with everybody else
no
being-
offense, he's a C-lister, I would say,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
But
like
I
feel like
get
he's
that,
not-
but I also watched him in Prison Break and Armageddon and The
He's good.
Longest Yard.
He's good
Like,
in those
those
movies.
are the-
yeah, but
movies.
those are not like A-list movies. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
well,
saying? We're talking
No,
about
sorry, Steve. Those
A-list-
aren't A-list roles, is what you're saying.
Yes,
The
they're
closest
not
one he
A-list
came to was
roles, but
Armageddon.
they're- Yeah, but I'm
Armageddon
saying
was the closest.
Well,
most-
who was the draw? I think that would be Mr.
Ben
Bruce
Affleck,
Willis.
Ben Affleck.
And
and
Bruce
Bruce
Willis.
Willis.
A lot of these
Willie.
movies that I am seeing, Ben Affleck is his co-star. It's
Yeah.
like he almost wouldn't have this movie if it wasn't for him.
No, I
Well,
don't.
they usually work together. A lot of them do work together and hire within each other. But Donna's not wrong on that in a sense because he is in a lot of films with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck
Yeah.
probably knows him from other movies and cast him in this movie. But
I mean, Cold Brook, I recognize one of the guys, and that's off. What is the name of that movie? I am so sorry, guys. I am not thinking right. What is the name of the Sons of Anarchy?
oh,
One of his co-stars was from
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
I second that. Oh.
He's
Ron
more.
Perlman. That's the only thing good on that show.
He is more of a TV show than movies.
Now you're basically making my point by saying that this
No, that's
is
what I
a
was saying.
TV movie with a big name actor in it. That sounds good on paper, and no offense to that. There's a ton of those out there where there are
Right.
major actors that make made-for-TV movies that just get pumped out like this, probably, and it sounds good on paper. It's an hour and 30 minutes. It meets that mark.
Right. Barely an hour and 30. That's kind of
Barely
a short
though,
film.
Rob. And then you
That's a
look
short
at
film.
it like this is a very empty film.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of those. I mean, there's a film, it's called Knock Knock, and it has Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah. Knock knock.
The
Very
up,
empty.
up
That
you seen
man.
that movie, Knock Knock.
Listen,
Rob?
I have not
Knock
seen
Knock?
Knock Knock, but that man, Keanu Reeves, I watch it.
Right. I'm sure that doesn't mean he can't do a bad movie.
You can't. Oh, we're talking about Keanu here, but
Yeah, we're talking about
it
Keanu
starred him, Keanu Reeves, who's the draw.
Just
but it-
because John Wick came out and now everyone loves him doesn't mean Keanu
No,
Reeves.
I loved that man before that movie.
Dracula,
I loved him in The
anybody?
Matrix. I loved him in
Agree with you on-
Constantine.
Bram Stoker's man.
And
Bram
listen,
Stoker's a good movie.
If he was to make a
Nah.
second Constantine, I would.
They need
I
to
don't
make a second
know about John
Constantine for people.
And that's the
I-
one movie he said that he wished that he could make again.
So
Do a
I got a
sequel.
review, everybody. It's time for a movie review. and I am going to be reviewing the movie Sisu. That's right.
You saw that, huh?
I saw it, Steve.
Sisu.
I saw it, Steve, and I was actually impressed.
Really?
Very, very impressed, Steve. This movie struck me as very good. So far as a 7.4
Like that
on
green
IMDb.
screen, huh?
It was directed by Jamari Helander, written by Jamari Helander, starred Jorma Tomilia, Eleski Hanna, and Jack Dolan.
Names you can't pronounce.
Yep, names I can't pronounce. So basically, it's about an ex-soldier it's about an ex-soldier who discovers gold, right as the Nazis are like bombing his city and like looting his city, and it, I'm gonna go ahead and start it off with that. That's the premise of the movie. But the film, man, this film, when I watched it, let me just pull up my notes here on it, my audience here, so I can talk more about it. So first of all, the film reminded me a lot of No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood.
Oh,
The cinematography, Steve, is really good. And I know I say that sometimes, but this movie has like an atmosphere. And usually when I go into a movie, I usually go in, with the atmosphere with me. This movie goes and sucks that atmosphere right to you. You are brought into this film. You come. This film comes to you. You don't come to this film, which is what makes it really interesting. The emotions of this movie, Steve, are off the charts, man. And spoilers for everybody. There's the moment when he actually discovers the gold. You see the planes flying over him. You see the bombs flowing off, and then he's grasping at a wedding ring,
Oh, okay.
and he's digging and digging, and what do they show when he actually strikes gold, Steve? They could have just showed like nothing really happened. They could have just showed him striking it, cheering. But no, Steve, in this film, he strikes it and he gets so emotional. He starts crying, He starts getting like he actually lays down in the pit crying over this gold that he found because you can just tell
Shades of
the sense of sacrifice of what he just found was right there. Now, we do basically there is a lot of the action of the film is pretty typical. I mean, typical of don't fuck with this guy because he's the badass, and the Nazis, of course, get their comeuppance. But it is a gritty grind of a film. You have to be in the mood for this movie because it is a grind, and I mean that in a good and negative way, as in like it's gritty, as in everybody in their costumes and everybody. The Nazis look dirty and nasty. They're not like
when in the war,
like they're in the war.
Now, is it historically correct?
I wouldn't go so far as to say this movie is a historical correct piece.
No.
Or a historical piece.
Okay.
But it is a very good timepiece.
Fantasy.
It is basically John Wick, but old man. So I would say John Wick meets No Country for Old Men, because in No Country for Old Men, as for those of you who've never seen the film, I recommend you see it. Basically, a film about a guy who discovers all the money and basically has to make these choices. Keep the money or what else happens. So I don't want to give it away for those of you who have never seen it. But the sacrifice,
you should really see it.
The sacrifice that is made in this movie from this guy is great. Mm-hmm. The dog part that we all saw in the trailer is very small aspect of the movie. Very small. Yeah. But everything else about the movie, I thought it was good. It's got a 7.4 so far on IMDb, and I would actually give it, from what I saw, a 7.8. And give it a high 7 there.
So I have a question, as I am the new person in this podcast, and I am still learning.
Yep.
So this is completely off subject, and because that's why I want to know the answer.
What?
Who does the 7.5 or 8.0? Is it fans like us, or actually movie critics that have the final say on it?
It's a mix of everybody.
It's a mix of everybody.
On IMDb, yeah. And I usually like to read for our audience multiple different scores, but I generally do not take scores from Rotten Tomatoes, nor do I take scores from
I don't do Rotten Tomatoes.
So I don't do that. But that's why I rated my own score as well, because I feel the film was a 7.8 more than 7.5. I just thought the film was, and for this day and age, when we just got out of the topic, Steve, of discussing how Hollywood doesn't really have too many original ideas, even though this movie itself isn't that over an original idea,
you don't have to have
executed really good.
Now I'm going to take this point. Number one, I only saw bits and pieces of this film, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't truly impressed with it. Not to say it was bad, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I'm not going to lie. I'm just like, yeah,
you have to be in the
right.
mood for this one.
Yeah, and maybe I just wasn't, Rob, because I'm not going to lie, bro. I watched it, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm feeling this so much. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
It does. I think where the movie is all about is how it's shot and how it looks and the how they hold on the frames and everything else. I think
the emotional aspect of it is really good.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter, and the ambient music with those scenes are what's really
the music
driving.
Is really crazy.
Okay,
in
yeah,
this movie.
I think it's nailing it there. But I do feel like this is one of those films that it is like gonna probably be in the 7 range. Again, I haven't finished the film, but it's one of those films where it's a power fantasy based off of it's like an Inglourious Basterds. It's a great power fantasy based off of history, but it's not. It's wildly inaccurate.
Yeah,
which is to its like betterment. It doesn't need to be accurate. It actually needs to be very inaccurate for it to work.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this is definitely one of those films that
I think it's going to be a cult classic one day.
I do. Yeah, I you know what? Yeah, I think so. I think there are people who are gonna literally latch onto this dude.
I think people are allowed to.
This movie was so sick. I gotta watch this film. Yeah, definitely made for that purpose.
Okay, so this is going to be completely off subject, and since you guys brought this up, like a cult classic type of thing, is it going to be up there with Clockwork Orange?
No.
And the only reason why I ask is because the other day, me and my husband were sitting down watching a music video. I was like, hey, I recognize him. What is he off of? And I couldn't place it. And it was Slipknot, and it was one of the guys off of Clockwork Orange. Which, do you think that some of these movies today, and I hate the cancel society we have, like, hey, this doesn't follow our views, Pepe Le Pew, a few other things. Do you think eventually this movie may get canceled? Because like I said, I have not seen this movie. No. I have not.
It's about killing Nazis.
Yeah, it's just a movie.
But I get that, but it's killing Nazis. But do you think, but in today's society, it's a murder.
No.
Do you think they're like, oh, hey, listen, I know they did bad.
No.
But this should be their safe space.
No.
Because they were following commands.
There's been too many movies that have been made in this day and age. Like I was saying before, Inglourious Basterds has been made in this era.
Star Wars?
That was all about that. Yes, Star Wars.
But Inglourious Basterds was before our cancel age.
Not really.
Not really. It was actually right there with it. It was just, this film is not... I even think, let me just say this. If this film had a budget of a AAA film and it got released, I still don't think that this is going to make anybody's, make waves. This is just a film. Again, this is a power fantasy.
Do you think this is appropriate for kids to watch?
No.
No, this is a rated R film. I think this is made for an audience. Like I was saying, this is made for a dude.
Fantasy. Honestly, it's a dude movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's just with it being rated R, is there sexual violence?
No. Well, yeah, there is sexual violence in the film.
Okay, so that would stop me from having my girls watch it because they have seen like Pennywise and stuff like that. And some of that stuff is rated R, but my girls know, that's fiction. It's not based on a true story.
Yeah, but that's here or there though, Donna, because that you could say that about this film too. You could just be like, it's not real to whatever is happening in any film,
and
especially
it could be. But at one point in time, we were at war with the Nazis and stuff like that. I'm trying to get my 8-year-old and my 4-year-old into history. And we started listening to podcasts about the yellow fever and the prohibition and stuff like that. I'm trying to judge, as you guys said, this movie is not rated for little kids.
Right.
What age would you recommend?
Well, it's rated R, so I put this up for adults only.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So 18 and over or 21 and over, because now 18. They're getting it. Okay, but here's the thing. They're now saying 21 and over can buy guns and everything, smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
And do all this. So that's where the government says, okay, this is adult appropriate.
Right.
But you're saying 18.
To be honest with you, I think honestly, you should be allowed to see a rated R movie when you're 16. Because I know I was sneaking into rated R movies when I was 16. Didn't make me want to
Probably
do anything.
before that. Don't lie
make
to
me want
our audience
Didn't make me want
before
to do anything bad.
that.
So
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
don't think that
definitely
this
see
is
that.
gonna
And
do the same thing.
with this film, it's not anything. It's just a movie. It
It's
has
just a movie.
there's no political message in it. It literally is about a guy who scores a bunch of gold, and like I was saying, because we all do sacrifices in our lives, he has
We
to
all
protect
do.
what is his. He has to protect
Yeah.
what is his. I mean,
So he
ultimately,
goes like on a vengeance thing,
the
right?
Nazis bombed his whole fucking city. So all he and they show him doing the thing with his wedding ring, meaning that he has a loved one that obviously died. So this gold that he finds, and the reason he gets so emotional and has to protect, is because that's all he has left.
All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be right back, and we'll be joined by Oreo Brewer.
All right, so we're gonna have more of an open discussion here on these things here, since Donna wants to get into the flames here of our first opening.
Like I
Our
said,
first opening subject here, which she wasn't around to hear about, so I'll go ahead and talk about this article again. 3 different stories here. Disney saying this is progress. One side saying this is to make your kids gay. The other side is saying this is to demonize gays. And it's coming from them.
it's also the same thing with the freaking AIDS pandemic.
But hold on. But what I'm getting at here is there is nothing in this movie about this. I guarantee you, if we all as critics watch this movie, we would see a bad film. We wouldn't see this openly gay character make a huge determination on the plot. I haven't even seen this movie, but I guarantee you, Steve doesn't have kids, and I don't believe Oreo has kids. I might be speaking out of line though.
I got an adopted daughter.
But if we
There you go.
don't teach our kids it's okay to accept people for who they are, or eat any better than racism because of the color of the skin.
Right.
As long as my child is
That was going really well, and then it
happy
broke up.
She's
with
de-resing.
who they are, or who they are with this, as long as my child is happy, teacher under the bus because they don't want to deal with their own parenting problems, because they don't want to step up to the plate and be
That's
a
what I
parent.
say. That's what I say. That's what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying. And no, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's what
There
I'm saying.
has to be a time.
But they don't want Disney and Mickey Mouse
Parents
to tell
in
your
today's
kid.
generation has to be like, who fucking cares? If you're not going to step up and do this as a parent, someone's going to have to.
Right.
All
And
right,
so
let me
Oreo's got a lot.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me, before Oreo goes, let me bring this back down to earth here. As somebody that's the only person on the panel that has actually seen this film, and I've seen it twice.
How gay is
I
it?
have not. First of all, here's the thing about the film. It's not a good film. It's not a good film. I agree with Oreo. Like, I did not see any like advertisements like you usually
Neither did
for
I.
Disney films.
There was one poster on Twitter, and that was it.
Maybe, and I can't
And a
remember.
trailer.
Did anybody see like a trailer for the
I
film?
don't remember a trailer for
It's
this.
kinda
I don't
like-
remember seeing anything.
I do
It just
not
came
remember a
out.
trailer.
So that
But that's
right
kind
there,
of like Red.
yeah. So right there is your telling argument. Is I just found it on Disney Plus, and I was like, what is this? Is this a new film?
I saw the
Okay,
trailer.
Watched it.
So I'm going to have to watch it on Disney+.
I watched it, and I was like, horrible, but it wasn't good. It was like whatever. I wouldn't go see it again, kind of thing for a Disney film. I didn't really watch it and know that
It's a
there was
B-rated movie.
So you
I
know
didn't
the
think
character was
that
gay,
was-
Steve?
No, I didn't. Not the first time. I wasn't really paying attention because, again, it wasn't about that. But
Well, that's because
the
you're not
second
woke
time-
enough, okay?
yeah, I guess I wasn't. I just needed to tap into the wokeness first, like my second watch through.
Well, I
and it
guess
was with a
Christian's not
child, by
woke
the way.
enough.
Yeah, and I watched it with a child, by the way, my second time, and the child also didn't realize that any of the characters were anything. They were kind of focusing too much on the aliens on the film. So
Yeah.
I'm.
that's what-
This is
that's
just
what-
me
that's what I was trying
with
to say.
three
Like
children in
today's
the room
society.
and multiple adults. We watched the film, and everybody was just commentating on the aliens and the jokes.
That's what
They
I was
usually
saying
do
in my first
on-
argument is people
yeah.
made this movie about this gay character, and it had nothing to do
It had
with
nothing
the movie
to do
itself.
with it. I think it had to deal with an absentee father who refuses to take care of his son. That's kind of what the film was about, and how he has to come
every
to grips.
90s film ever.
Right. So what?
Right,
Wait,
yeah.
should I be outraged over the racial stereotypes here, Steve? I mean, I feel
know,
like
Oreo,
they're
and he
placating to the
fled.
minority standard
Yeah,
of
he had a
we don't have.
child. He had a child and literally fled to
And whether
another
he's gay or
world
not.
to escape the responsibilities of raising his son, and it was coming to grips with that. That's what the film was all about. It's just interesting when they put a character that has these changes. That well,
Sound like an angry, hateful robot.
yeah, dude. I don't know if
You didn't beep when you should have booped.
Yeah. RGB's cousin's a little pissed. But yeah, man, I just felt like, after I saw the film,
I told you what happened to my house today.
I can't tell if you're really drunk or you're like just a robot.
You sound like you're speaking like a Star Wars alien language right now. I'm not.
Yeah.
May the force be with you, motherfuckers.
Okay, we heard that.
Why did that come through all clear?
Hey, Oreo, did you see Sisu?
No.
What?
Sisu, the new movie?
No.
Pretty good. It's kind of like No Country for Old Men meets, killing Nazis.
I get so tired of the Nazi
Listen,
trope.
all I'm trying to say
I hear that on that one.
Does that make you not want to watch it, Oreo, because it does have killing Nazis in it?
No, it's just I'm so sick of going to that. It's the
era.
Yeah, it's so boring. It's like, oh, Indiana Jones is coming out. Oh, he's gonna be fighting Nazis again.
All roads lead to the Nazis.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, I actually commented on
that's
give me a
the podcast
movie
I listen to.
where it's the opposite and people got pissed off about it.
Like, what if it was like Israelis? You know how much people would be mad about that? If it was like a rogue Israeli part of the government.
If it's time, that will be the next generation. But that's like I was telling Oreo off cast or whatever. Like we were all talking about things that weren't taught in school. Yeah, we talked for a little bit. There's
I can't
a
say what
medical
she said
situation.
either because I don't want to get in trouble.
Sure.
No, thank you, sweetheart.
Oh, of course.
Like Al Capone.
Yeah.
Did either one of you know that during his criminal behavior, he donated most of his money to children who can't afford food or milk in schools?
Yeah, so did the Black Panthers. Does that make you feel any better about them?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That I knew about. That I remember from
Hey, they're dead. But the thing is, it died out during the Prohibition, but they came back because they thought the freaking immigrants. I'm an immigrant.
I'm an burger.
I was born in the U.S., but my family's from media. The media think it's bad, so they persuade them to their side. Just like Disney movies and everything else. Oh my God, this is bad. We can't be teaching our children this. They don't deserve to see this. But as a person that lives in a very small community.
There we go.
I have very many people that are very different races. I'm trying to teach my children so that there's no gray.
I heard there's no gray.
I thought she said snow way.
There's no race. If Disney has
snow day.
Back me up. Like
I hear you hating on Disney a lot, Donna. And I hate to say it though.
No, I'm not hating on Disney. I'm saying if parents are not going to tell their kids it's okay to be this way or this way. And if Disney has to step up and show our kids it's okay. Racism and bigotism and all that. Is we teach our kids it's okay. Is all I'm saying. Like
I get what you're saying there.
It's to a point where it's sad that Disney has to teach
Has to
our
step up.
kids it's okay.
Donna, do you like my profile
We
pic
should
there?
step up and teach
Yeah.
them okay.
Because
I know.
what that is teaching kids right there,
Because
what
so
Steve has is
disappointed.
advertising for no pants. Steve has an openly no pants character on his profile.
Listen,
Also, is Winnie the Pooh.
he doesn't talk English.
Yeah, right.
No, he doesn't talk English. He does, like
I want
said,
to ask Oreo Brewer what you were saying about that. I want to get back to that one subject though, because I want to see what he has to say about you. So Donna seems to not think Oreo, and this is great. She seems to not think that Pepe Le Pew was not inappropriate. all
I
I'm
did not
asking.
say that.
I mean, he
I'm
was a
saying
sweet talking romancer for sure.
time of generation.
She was talking about how it's a generational thing, and I tell her things.
Our grandparents
Our generation watched Pepe Le
did
Pew.
not
They're
care.
funny, but
There's
things
nothing
change.
racist about
No,
Pepe.
No.
We ain't talking
Our
about Pepe Le Pew.
generation,
We're talking
we
about
kind of
the.
did. But we were younger.
I'm talking about the oh baby, the only one for me, when she's trying to run,
She's
and then
like
she
trying
gets
to-
out.
Our grandparents.
Donna, you
Our
sound like a
parents.
rambling old man.
I
Yeah.
know, like it's half a conversation.
But back in that generation, as long as a man beat you the size of their thumb, I do. I'm sorry. I
I
love you,
get like
but I'm
these like
saying
messages like in
from
this
that
generation, beat you with
generation,
their thumb.
I'm saying from that generation to ours, with the size of thumb.
Okay. I asked
But as
Oreo. I know what your opinion is. I want to hear Oreo's opinion on Pepe Le Pew.
I don't have a problem with the motherfucker. I've been laughing at the whole issue with Strange Worlds.
Right.
Because it's like, the parents are pissed off about a movie, but they're totally okay with a sex scandal involving the students.
Right, that's what I'm saying, man.
I will say this too, Oreo. On that, there has been a documentary on Hulu. I don't know if you guys saw. It's like a mini series that involved. It's called like The Teacher. That involved teacher that was having a sexual relationship.
Mary Kay Letourneau.
Yeah, and it was
I
like.
love that
Are you
shit.
talking about the hot teacher, the one that was hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that
then,
everyone wasn't mad at.
Get this.
that
So I have
was
a
not mad at-
population.
and then she just like gets off in the end as in real life, and no one was cool with that. There was no boycotts about that show.
Because she was an alcoholic.
Yeah, barely.
She died. a few
So
years
Yeah,
ago.
she did.
So in 2001, my town
Yes.
that I live in,
Yeah.
has a population under
Population 200. And she's gone.
1,100 people. There's more cows than there are people. Now, it's in the state of Kansas.
I don't know if I like where this conversation is going.
Yeah.
Especially with it cutting in and out. Like,
It's like pretty soon we're gonna say, and then the people are having yows.
Okay, so Oreo, you're a step parent. Robert, you have kids. Steve, do you have kids?
No, I don't have kids, but I take care of them.
Okay.
Because illegitimate kids.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
He
illegitimate.
exactly
Right,
like most
Batman.
men.
Steve is like that, man. He
I
has
am
all,
kind of like Batman, to be honest with you, though, dude.
he has all these kids with these criminal mastermind women.
Oh god.
And then when they say there's like, Steve, you're more than just a co-host on an international podcast, and he's like, yes, I know, but I must continue my way.
I'm saying. What I was trying to get back to.
Okay, Donna, we're listening. We're just, honey, you're gonna have to get that bandwidth fixed.
For real.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
This is probably the
The
greatest
teacher
thing.
should not be in trouble.
I love it. No, that's why I'm the recorder is still going because I'm gonna let people like decipher what
This
she's
is-
saying.
Mhm.
And this is pretty cool.
Hey, Oreo, what's going on?
Oh God, it's a horrible.
So we got like 10 more minutes here.
Not very much. Just funny as shit.
I know. I love it.
I just find it's so dumb. Like, parents are gonna get mad about a gay character. Yeah, what in Florida the first state to pass gay marriage?
I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure.
Because I remember it was June. Because it was Florida.
Was it?
Or it was Georgia. It was either Florida or Georgia that did it. Because it was June 26th to 2016. Because it was 626 for Stitch. I remember that.
Let me see. Let's look that up, everybody, since we're on the Maine, actually.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It was Maine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I just get so tired of a lot of this because it's bad faith actors and it's people who probably never even seen the film that are sitting there saying all this stuff about the movie.
Yep.
So that's what really kind of bothers me. And that's why I kind of brought this up as a three-part argument is that you have the studio saying it's progress. One side saying it's demonizing to make kids gay. The other side is saying that, hey, this is actually making us look bad. And it's like, it always brings me to that South Park episode where they're talking about Scrody McBoogerballs in the Senate, and they're like sitting there like, what book are you reading? Scrody McBoogerballs is the most Republican-hating agenda I've ever read. And the guy's like, what are you reading? He's like, Scrody McBoogerballs is a liberal-loving book. And he's like, there's nothing in the book about Republicans or Democrats.
Oh my God.
Like, that's kind of how I feel is going on in today's like day and age with some of these things. It's like there is nothing in this movie that is overly political. You are just making it so much more than it needs to be. I didn't know the character was gay. Now I do. And I didn't even know that. Like, I knew that before the plot of the film.
Yeah. Well, it's like when Onward came out, they had China was bitching about the one fucking line. And I'm like, who fucking cares?
Fuck them.
For real.
And again, and Onward was another one of those films that did not do well, not because of that controversy, just because it was just like lackluster, just like this one. It's not.
I love that though. That was a good movie.
It's just like these films, and again, there's so much more for like an animated film that you've seen back in the day that had so much more violence. Me and Rob have done a episode on Ralph Bakshi, right?
Oh yeah.
He was notorious for
his
being
films are fucking violent.
Like violent, and just think about all the animated films you saw in the back in the day. If you saw Secret of the Nymph, that was violent with the rats where they were killing each other with knives and stuff like that. No outrage. I saw that when I was young and no one cared. I'll go ahead and watch that. You know what I mean? Are you traumatized by it?
There's even more subtle outrages we've talked about, Steve. Things that people don't even notice. Like, let's talk about another Disney film that we once did, Angels in the Outfield. That movie is so interesting because it is literally the first time Disney has ever told you that your parents can be a piece of fucking shit. Because the dad leaves the kid. He literally abandons him.
To his face. Yeah,
right. There's also the traumatization of the little boy that was left in the car, and it's like one of those. Yeah, it's the first kind of movie that talks about that trauma, and it's the first kind of movie I remember as a Disney movie that sits there and goes like, yeah, your parents aren't always always the best people for you. No, you ain't gonna see that nowadays with certain films.
Nope.
Especially that kind of innuendo.
When are you coming back? Maybe when the Angels win the pennant.
Win the pennant. And then, exactly, dude. And then he gets them to win the pennant, and then he leaves. He doesn't even just leave him, bro. He just like, later.
Yeah, like to a child's face in the 90s, there was nothing back then.
No outrage about that movie.
They only think about the player flying in the outfield. They don't go like, oh, that the dad just openly going like, yeah, I don't care about you, and then just piecing out his son.
That's why I said, Steve, in my ending of that statement, I think people who are judging this movie, you are projecting more than a movie projector. That is what you are doing. Yep. You are just projecting your own issues onto this film. And see, and like I was trying to get this out to my friend because they were like saying like, oh, that's just your opinion. I'm like, but you're missing the point. I was like, it's not a political opinion. I'm talking about the fact that this film is hurt by all the hard work people put in this. And I guarantee you, if I was to see it, I would see I would see a bad film. I would see an overall probably a bad movie because it doesn't sound like it's a very good movie. And Steve, from what you tell me, it doesn't sound that good.
Yeah, it was just like it looked really, really good. Like that's where the money was. It was just fantastic, like beautifully shot. It looked great, but it was a subpar film. It was like I didn't want to
I
watch
just
that
think
one
some
again.
of the subtle outrages, like Donna was talking about. I think if we are getting to that point in society, it's really it's lukewarm and stupid to me because it's like, of course, we all know Nazis are bad. This
Yeah.
idea that we should stop creating, and I know, like what you were saying, Oreo, is that, and it is a really overdone trope with Nazis. But the fact that we do the whole idea of Nazis are bad, and we constantly do, I mean, everyone knows that. You shouldn't have to like sugarcoat that for anybody. We all
Yeah.
know
Nazis are the greatest heroes on the planet.
that's what I'm saying, man. I mean,
Like, I
They're
want
the
to
hero.
see that kind of
Oh,
shit.
Rob,
I'm
what
so
about one of
tired
the
it.
films that you liked, which was Jojo Rabbit? What about that?
Jojo Rabbit,
That was good. That was
as I
funny.
told everyone, that's a movie about my false outrage. That's a movie that I literally was like, no, I'm gonna tell this story, Oreo, because
Yeah,
actually,
I
it's an
remember.
interesting story. Because, so again, I should have brought this up when when Donna was talking about the cancel culture. Dan, she's gonna kick my ass for that one.
Yeah,
When she was talking about the cancel culture, when I first seen the advertisement for Jojo Rabbit, I was actually a little shocked. I was like, I cannot believe they are making a film right now in this era with everything that's going on about a kid with an imaginary friend that makes Hitler look good. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. I wrote an article about this. So actually, when I went and saw the movie, I realized that the movie itself is not about how you love Nazis. It's about the exact opposite. It's about how making them look stupid. It was
Mhm.
about the real, how he had that Jewish friend in the end and everything.
Yeah.
It really was heartfelt. And I wrote the article about this is my false outrage. Movies like this, when we think they're trying to mean one thing, they could just mean another deep
Mhm.
down, and it was a good message.
Yeah.
And so when that's why I was kind of getting at, like, people who want to jump on that cancel culture bandwagon like that, or jump at a movie because like that, you need to see it first.
Yeah.
Because I'm a prime example of that. I was actually like, wow, I'm kind of outraged they would make a movie to make Hitler look like a good guy. And then when I seen it, I was like, nah, it's not that at all.
But you were again, like on that podcast episode we talked about, was you were tricked by what the media was doing, though, Rob.
Yeah.
Like, remember the whole thing about it was Taika Waititi. He was like smiling with the kid, and then like I think the closing shot was him having like his
Doing
like
the-
holding hand, and
Yeah,
holding hands,
jumping up
so
in the air.
they knew what they were doing.
And it was
get you
it was
outraged.
funny though. It was
Yeah.
because I like the beginning when he's like, "Give me a Heil," and he's like, "Heil." He's like, "No, give me a Heil, Heil." You know?
Yeah, dude,
Like that part was funny. Like the jokes they made on the Nazis itself were really funny. But I think Oreo though is completely 100% correct though. The Nazi trope has been done so much, and it's almost like and what's funny because I did the review on Sisu today. It is exactly like that because Sisu not only has Nazis, but the Nazis try to kill a fucking dog in it too, which makes you hate them even more.
And then
So
you
it's that-
have fucking Pet Cemetery too, where you literally see Clancy skin a rabbit.
Oh man.
kill a dog too.
Okay, off subject before we go. Did you see the remake of Pet Cemetery, Oreo?
Yeah, and it was bullshit. I mean,
Okay,
seriously,
let me
kid's gonna get hit by a semi.
I knew you were gonna bring that up. You did not like the
Right,
change,
right.
huh?
Okay, I didn't like the change either. However, that was was the movie not good up until then?
It wasn't.
I didn't.
I thought it was good up until then.
Dude, it was.
It was
fine,
okay,
bro.
and then that kid getting hit just.
That's what I'm
was
saying.
okay.
Up until that part, I thought it was okay. I thought the movie was all right.
I mean, I like the plot twist at the end. That was good shit. That was really good. That was a good plot twist. But I like the original so much more.
The original is great, and you know what's even worse is I have a lot of friends that buy houses out here in like rural communities, and they're always next to that long stretch of highway, and I always make that joke. Well, damn, did you have to move into the Pet Cemetery house? And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You got that one road right there. You have a semi truck just driving down that."
Driving 100 miles an hour down
It's
a
like,
two-lane.
it's like who? It's like you better get the number on the back. How am I driving? Bad.
You're bad.
How am I driving 1-800 Pet Cemetery?
So I'm saying, like, every time I see a house now
just like,
on
why
just
is
a
it
long stretch of road, I'm like, why is it on a long stretch of road like that?
and
Yeah.
why is the family still living at that house? Why they should be like having money buyout for their children being killed, moving
True.
away. I always thought like, why? What, they didn't like win a settlement at all. Like, what the hell?
Because
are
the
they
ground back there, Steve, went
Didn't
south.
tell her.
The Indians knew back in the day when the ground went south. That's why I don't use it no more.
still-
But sometimes,
God.
Steve, Dad is better.
Yeah, that is
Dad is better, Steve. Just remember. Dad
Just remember.
is better.
I do miss Fred though. He was so fucking good. Man.
He made the movie, bro.
I want to play, mommy, but I want to play with you.
That kid, dude, was so hilarious, man. I know I shouldn't laugh, but them using a
You can laugh all you want, Steve.
Okay, am I the only
that's why the kid was
person
bad.
who laughed when he like took the child and injected him with that whatever the hell it was? And
Yes.
the kid turned around and was like,
Steve.
"No fair," or whatever he says.
Mm-hmm.
I
You just
laughed
gotta
so
remember,
hard.
Steve. Sometimes that is better.
That is better.
That is
Sometimes
better. Steve.
drive your semi to Providence.
All right. In this episode of Real Sharks Podcast, it's been your host Rob with his co-host Steve
Well, see ya.
and his other guest co-host Oil Brewer. And just remember, the moral of this episode is sometimes dead is better.